Gobble, 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 gobble!
Oh.
It's November 19th, 2010. It's our special Thanksgiving edition of the TV Insiders podcast.
That was Annie doing a turkey impression for those of you who are wondering what the heck was that sound.
I can't do
That's
it.
That's
Someone
not
in my
good.
family can do it.
Never do that again.
Never
This is
make that
Dalton
face
Ross sitting here with Michael Slezak
Hello?
and Annie Barrett.
I'm not going to do it again.
Do it again.
My dad can do it, so it's like...
Oh my god, that's like
I
Cookie
think that's
Monster.
like a duck. That's
hell
like
was that?
some
A
sort
turkey.
of poultry, a fowl. It's definitely a fowl.
Never again.
No, I fouled out.
I felt good about that. All right, we got a lot to talk about. We are going to bring Jennifer Armstrong in to talk Grey's Anatomy.
Ooh.
Survivor came back strong this week with its best episode of the season. We are going to have the recently ousted Brenda Lowe here to talk about her untimely ouster. And speaking of recently ousted,
Say oust again.
I think ousted is a good word.
I hate that
Recently
word.
ousted.
I'm leaving.
I just made up a word. I feel good about it too.
Maxim.
Maxim.
Maxim Shmerakovsky.
Well, that guy's going to be here. I
Yeah.
can never pronounce his name.
Maxim Shmerkovsky.
Before we bring in Max, final three, Dancing with the Stars, Annie.
Hello.
Expert, who's going to win?
Oh, this was the most dramatic thing any ballroom has ever
Oh, my
seen.
goodness.
Bristol Palin is still there. What happened?
I'm right. You guys poo-pooed my idea. I'm right. It's a Republican stronghold political voting bloc that's putting her through.
You're always right.
I have to say, I don't take Dancing with the Stars that seriously, except for I kind of
Okay,
do.
all right,
Liar.
Mike.
But I
yeah.
was really angry when Brandy got voted off.
I think
I was
the
like,
a nation wept.
a nation wept, and also a nation
Except
kind of
the millions of people who apparently voted for Bristol.
dropped a couple of expletives too. That's what I did. I
Yeah.
was like, are you kidding?
Oh,
I
come
did.
on.
You're gonna have to bleep me out, but I
Yeah.
did not like it one bit.
We've been horrified at Bristol for a while, but let's also, Kyle Massey is not like that incredible either for a final three.
No.
But he's working overtime.
He has the
and
perfect personality.
He is.
And he's had an improvement arc. He's really like the ideal Dancing with the Stars type who could win, but I think Jennifer Grey will win.
They've been setting up that arc all season. I think the
Yeah.
show wants her to win. But Kyle
Yeah.
Massey, I have to say, I give him points because he is working overtime. Even when he's not dancing, when they cut to him before break, he and Lacey are always doing little bits and
Oh,
shticks.
she's such a ham.
She's such a ham. And
They
Lacey
were
has been,
bullying each other.
her dancing has been
Oh,
unbelievable.
she's a beautiful dancer.
Max, what's his name? Say it again.
Shmerkovsky.
That guy. Let's get him on the phone and see what he has to say about being booted.
Booty.
Thanks for being here, Max. Let's look at the final three now. I think everyone sort of figured that Jennifer was going to be there at the end. Everyone figured that you were going to be there at the end, but Kyle and Bristol definitely surprises. Did you ever see that coming?
Absolutely. I don't think Kyle was a surprise at all. I put Kyle in the finale of the, in the very beginning of the show. You know, when this kid came out to dance the cha-cha, the thing that popped into my mind right away, and I have no idea why because they're not really that similar, was Warren Sapp's cha-cha in the beginning of his season. You know, everybody excluded him from the final. They were like, okay, come on, man, fat dude, seriously. And then this guy comes out and does this cha-cha that I was like, my jaw dropped, and it was amazing. Same thing with Kyle. Who the hell is this kid? You know, we don't know who he is. And he comes out, does the cha-cha, everybody's jaw drops, and I was like, this kid's in the final for sure. So, I was looking forward to having Brandy, Jennifer, and Kyle final, but, what can I do?
Hey, some of us swore at our television at that result. Were you swearing on the inside?
Was I swear? No, no. I was laughing on the inside. It's funny to me. Nothing I can possibly say would make me seem like not a sore loser. I mean, I would probably have to say, it's fine, everything is great, everything is right, that's how the show is and supposed to be. Bristol is phenomenal, she's loved. No, this is bullshit. And everybody knows it. Why would I say something that nobody else thinks? I want to sound like a hypocrite and look like a hypocrite. So, at the risk of sounding like a sore loser, yes, Brandy should have been in the final, obviously. Everybody knows that, including people that voted for Bristol, because they voted for not her dance ability, but for other things, whether it's some people say political inclination, some people say mother's orders. I mean, there's a clan of Palinism out there, and just, it is what it is. I've never focused on hate. I've never focused on unreasonable people out there with their unreasonable opinions based on the way they live their life. I'm a New Yorker, and I'm misunderstood and misinterpreted the second I landed in JFK and started learning English.
You know, you've been around Bristol all season, and we haven't. It seems to me like she's maybe not even trying. Does she want to be there?
Of course she's trying. You know, obviously she's trying. And this is what I've been saying. That's why, I've been upset for the past couple of days, because I've showed nothing but support to Bristol and, nothing but the praise when people were commenting on, well, why the hell is she still here, and she shouldn't be here, and this is not right, and blah, blah, blah. I was always like, guys, you have to remember, it's a TV show that gives people opportunity to vote and to express their opinion. Why can't she be? She has the same right to be here as the rest of us. So when reports came out on Monday that I said that, she doesn't belong here, I was like, this is pretty unfair. That's the first time that I felt upset, because it was just unfair. And as far as her trying or not trying, it doesn't matter if you want to try or not. Bristol has to try, because she has to finish the dance from beginning to the end. Now, the level of trying is questionable, but, it's personal opinion.
There was that incident 2 weeks ago with Carrie Ann where you guys had a little bit of a tense moment during judging. Do you worry that something like that might have cost you some votes with some fans at home because they want you to sort of, take your critique and
not... They
not...
want me to die out and shut up and stand there like a mannequin? I mean, people need to realize that we're not employees of the show, like... come in, punch in, finish the day, punch out, no emotions, no heart put into it, no, feelings. I mean, it's absurd to even think that, we don't stand up for our partners. Second of all, now that it's all over, screw Carrie Ann. She has no idea how to judge. She's never been to our competitions. The reason why I'm upset this season is because we get on the show, my partner signed up to be in a race. She signed up to be, in a race where they tell you, okay, this is the starting line, right? We say go, and you run, and you do your best to finish first, okay? And so when we cross the finish line, right, and we're standing on the podium, metaphorically, every week where they select who's going home, right? What happened on Tuesday is that we crossed the finish line first, and somebody crossed it barely limping behind, and at the end they decided to award them with the medal because they showed heart and resilience. I don't get that.
I want to know if you're going to go to Mel's house for Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
What do you cook for Thanksgiving, Max?
What do I cook? I'm Russian. Believe me, when I go to Mel's house, it's the most un-Thanksgiving-like Thanksgiving dinner ever, because it's a Russian, a Brit, and we don't know what Stefan, her husband, is. He's very confused. So, we just kind of sit there and we celebrate the fact that it's a holiday, but neither one of us understands what the holiday is. They kill it. And,
well, if you want to know what Thanksgiving's about, listen to this. Annie, do your turkey impersonation.
No.
Do it. Do it for him.
I can't.
Come on, the guy.
All right.
Annie, come on.
That's like a turkey being put out of its misery.
That one was a little better than the first one,
The funny
actually.
thing is, I can only imagine what it looks like.
Oh man, if you could see what I'm seeing right now.
Max, are you wearing leather pants right now?
No, and by the way, those I stole from the wardrobe. They just don't know it yet, and I destroyed them personally.
Oh my God.
The gray leather pants were a season highlight.
And runner-up to that was your tight white pants from last week. And I just have to ask, because some readers asked me, was there
No, I'm not wearing a thong.
Are you sure? Are you sure? You know what I'm
kidding me? Absolutely not.
Hidden gem.
Hidden gem.
Hidden
But
gem.
you heard it here. Max wasn't wearing a thong. It was an optical illusion.
My butt is that bubbly and that big, unfortunately. And you know what? It worked. I sacrificed. I took one for the team. You know what I mean? She looked phenomenal in that white dress, and I was like, I gotta stay white. I can't contrast. So
We're glad you did.
fortunately, it was the four of us dancing. Me, her, and my two butt cheeks, and that's what it was. But those leather pants, they could actually double as a wetsuit, because they're first completely, what was the word? Like waterproof, completely. And how I know is because at the end, I literally was sweating into my boots, because, we were the last to go, and you're standing there, and you're, a little kind of anxious to dance, nervous, whatever. It's very hot in that celebrity aquarium, and I'm like, are you serious? So half the time in commercial breaks, I would just unzip him and literally pull him down. Skin tight, so it wasn't a pretty sight.
That would have been a fine sight. I'm sad they didn't
I
show
probably
it.
lost like 2 pounds.
All right,
Just.
Oh, well, then it was all worth it.
you get us video of that. We'll get you video of Annie doing her turkey impersonation, and we'll
cluck.
call it even. All right, Max, thanks. You're entertaining as always. We're sorry you're not going to be in the final 3, but we very much hope to see you again next season on Dancing with the Stars.
Thank you, guys.
All right,
thanks a lot.
I can't deprive the hateful public of obnoxious Max.
That's right. Yay!
All right, bye, Max.
Bye, Max.
Bye, guys.
All right, good times as always with Max.
Wow.
Good times. Yeah. Wow, that's all that needs to be said.
Keep
What
it
an ass.
candid.
Let's start talking about some scripted fare. We have brought in Jennifer Armstrong to talk a little Grey's Anatomy. Jennifer, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Grey's Anatomy shows I've never ever watched for a couple reasons. One, I don't do hospital shows. I can watch all the gore zombie stuff in the world, but as soon as I see like a hospital needle, I'm done. Two, I'm a heterosexual male. I don't think the show's really made for me. Don't think I'm the target demo for this show. But Jennifer, I know that a lot of people were down on Grey's last year, but this year people seem to be liking it a lot more. Are you liking it more? And if so, why?
I'm definitely liking it a lot more. They've had some rocky times, really, in the last 2 seasons. You know, we had the ghost sex situation.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that was. It sounds better in
Right.
theory than it does in practice. Watching it week after week. Going back even further, there was some, the Izzy and George kind of hookup everyone hated. Even Izzy's cancer was a little bit tedious at times. That could get really laborious. So they're really firing on all cylinders all of a sudden again. They seem to have remembered what they were about originally, which is. Yes, great medical cases, but even more so, great relationship stuff and sex. That's what they're bringing back. And I've never loved when they only emphasize the medical cases because I'm not sure that they're like the top notch of medical cases. They're fine. I like when they reflect things going on in the surgeons' lives.
They're always
really
the
back
most
to that.
rare medical cases.
Well, every week they're doing something no one's ever done before in the history of medicine. It just happens to be at Seattle Grace, and more often than not,
The
they're
only
successful.
hospital in the world.
Yeah, it's amazing the things that they do there while also discussing their personal lives.
I think you said in one of your recaps, the patient's medical problems are only there to serve as metaphors for
Yeah.
the doctor's lives. If not, they have to die.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. And to be honest, as much as I make fun of that, I actually prefer it. I don't like when they sort of just go off and try to teach me things about medicine. That's not what I'm there for.
Definitely.
I'm there to see great relationship stuff. That's really what's been gangbusters this season to me. They've grown up a little bit, even while they've gone back to their roots with the sex and the relationships. They've also matured forward. They don't feel like they're stuck in the same place. A lot of the people are coupled up now, and yet they're just dealing with really adult, emotional, high-level stuff. And I think for people, at least like me, I'm in my 30s, I really have related to them throughout the entire thing, from when they were kind of a little less mature to now when they're dealing with some serious relationship issues.
And don't you feel like they're actually behaving in character fully? I think one of the problems I was having during the ghost sex period when I stopped watching the show, a lot of people were acting out of character, like the George Izzy thing. It was like, what are these people doing together? But I feel like now they're back to Bailey is Bailey and Callie is Callie, and they're behaving like themselves. And Christina is as awesome as ever.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. It does feel like as much as they've moved forward, they're also behaving very much like these people would, a couple years later. And you bring up a good point about Christina. She's been, Sandra Oh, to me, has always been the strongest link of that show, period. I just think she's amazing. But her dealing with the aftermath of the shooting has been really tremendous. She's dealing with PTSD now from having to basically perform surgery on Derek to save his life under, gunpoint. She's
always happens.
The usual. But I have to say, like,
Typical.
the thing about the shooting is that it could have been really stunty, and it could have been sort of just annoying, and especially dealing with the aftermath, or they could have just pretended like it never happened, like so many TV shows do. Like 2 episodes later, everyone's
Right.
like, la la la, nothing ever happened. Not only was that episode great at the end of last season, but they've really brought it nicely into sort of dealing with this season without being too overbearing.
It's called Grey's Anatomy, but I haven't heard you say Meredith Grey once, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about her character really a whole lot. Is she sort of not the focal point of the show, or is she sort of the weak link on the show now?
I wouldn't say she's the weak link. She's just one of many. They really have not been emphasizing her any more than anyone else. And I have to say, a lot of people, she used to be very polarizing early on. She was a little bit immature and had a lot of issues. she has really matured very nicely to the point where she's not at all annoying anymore. And she has a little bit of a now sort of central motherly kind of thing happening where...
I thought that's the best comment. She's not annoying.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't hear the Meredith hate anymore
you don't hear
at all.
the Meredith hate anymore at all. And I think that actually, in a strange way, is behind a lot of this renewed love for the show, is that they've sort of made her into this more mature and likable
I mean, I think
character.
part of it was always that she was a sexually active, single woman who was complicated and didn't always behave in the most perfect fashion. And my God, she's a woman, so she should be crucified for that. But, you know, now that her character has grown up and she's in a committed relationship and she's attempting to be happy and happy about being happy, you know,
And
she's
still
now...
sexually active.
She is, but she's now palatable for the wider audience.
Yeah, I was always, actually, for those reasons, I was always a big Meredith Grey defender. But I sort of do also like that it feels a lot more equally distributed, the attention these days. She does her kind of annoying, I still think the voiceover is annoying, but at the beginning of the show, but that's it. And they've brought in, I have to say also to their credit, so many new characters over the last season or two that really they've now finally made to gel nicely. Now they got rid of some during the shooting.
The ones that weren't quite working out.
Weed 'em out.
Bam, bam.
That was
Yes,
very cool.
it was a really sort of big way to go to get rid of some characters who weren't working, but I think it worked really well and gave them almost a nice legacy, because I think we've appreciated them more in the morning of them
Right.
than when they were on the
alive.
show.
All right, Jennifer, thanks for stopping by to talk about Greys. Good stuff. Twist my arm. You may actually get me to watch a show, but don't hold your breath. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to reality and talk some Survivor. I spoke to Brenda earlier this morning. You didn't like Brenda, Annie.
Well, I mean, if she's going to listen to this, let's not
Well, you didn't.
let
If
her
she-
know that.
If she listened last week, she knows it.
She's the king and the queen.
I thought
lady.
she was less smug this week with good reason.
Well, Slezak and I like her, so...
I think
you
she's
voted.
gorgeous. I love looking at her.
I loved her strategizing. I loved the way that she was controlling the game and clearly enjoying it. I just wish she'd fought a little harder, because I feel like there's a lot of like milquetoast personalities that she could have twisted into voting for someone else.
Don't
I feel
get it
like
twisted.
she could have triumphed over Nayanka or triumphed over Holly. I feel like she could have pulled it off.
Yeah, or at least you got to try. There's people that have been in much worse straits than her that have gotten out of it beforehand. But speaking about being in bad straits, let's talk about burning down the camp, because this is, sometimes things happen and whatever, but surrounding your fire with wooden trunks, highly flammable trunks, I mean, that is really up there on the stupidity
That's
meter.
pretty dumb. And I wondered as I was watching it, I was like, are they setting this up for all of their trunks to catch on fire? Because it just seemed like they just spent maybe a second too long showing a really dumb setup, and when they came back, I was like, that was great TV.
I wanted them to play the Talking Heads song.
Burning down
Yeah.
the camp.
Fight
Yeah.
fire with fire.
Keep going.
No.
Keep singing.
I should not be singing on
You
these things.
absolutely should be singing.
Yeah,
these
I agree.
things. I was loving Jeff Probst this
I
week.
loved when he was like, yellow team, if this was a life and death situation, you would be dead. And just total disdain for them. And I also loved how he forced Jane, or not forced her, but encouraged her to hang in there. And she won the immunity challenge.
Love Jane.
I applauded alone watching the episode. I was just clapping.
Me
Like, I was so
too.
excited
Me
that she
too.
won.
My favorite Probstism is when he said to Purple Kelly, "Give us your 20 years of wisdom," and he strikes the thinker pose. It's just like, you can just, the sarcasm just dripping out of him.
And she
She
did
is
not
so-
disappoint.
Yeah. It's just...
At one point, like, someone just said, "You don't really talk a lot," and she was just like, "Isn't that weird?"
And I loved Dan falling off the barrel.
Again,
It's like, Dan's
once again,
injured.
it took till, I don't know, 40 minutes in for me to realize Dan was still there.
Dan's still there.
Yeah.
It's a mix of like humor and rage when you realize he's still in the game. But one person not still in the game, Brenda. I spoke to her earlier. Let's listen to that right now. Check it out. So Brenda, first question: how do you take your eggs in the morning?
I do not take them scrambled. I take my eggs over easy now.
No scrambling for you.
You know what? Can we get straight to it?
Get into it,
That
woman.
question? Okay, I'm getting into it. The reason why I did not scramble was because my only chance for staying in the game was to show my core alliance, Sash, Chase, Nayanka, and Purple Kelly, that they could trust me. And if I went going around, because I wanted Sash's idol, if I was going around scrambling and talking to Benry and talking to Fabio and talking to Holly and Jane, Sash could easily be like, what is Brenda doing? she says I can trust her with my idol, and she's going to be talking to these people? Forget that. I can't trust her. She's not on my side. So I was trying. I had a plan. I wanted to look like Miss Innocent, just like I did with Shannon, with the whole Shannon vote. Just because, someone doesn't scramble, they don't want to be in the game. No, I wanted to be in the game. I tried. It was just different. Just because I didn't do it the typical, chicken with the head cut off, scrambling all over the place like a mess, most of the time it ends in disaster. And my thing was something different. It was that. I needed that idol. I didn't get it. Scrambling would not have helped that.
Did you straight up ask Sash for the idol?
No, I didn't ask him for it directly. I insinuated, I said, hey, maybe an idol could save me. And I didn't want Sash to think I was crafty like that. Yes, I wanted the idol, and, throwing the idea out there was enough, but I couldn't hear the no. I couldn't hear him say what was the easiest thing. No. I wanted him to just, hey, take this idea, see that it's a good idea, and just do it. And they didn't save me. And here I am talking to you, Dalton.
Yeah, but you get to talk to me, so all's well in the end.
Yeah.
So did he say straight up, I'm not going to give it to you, or are you still hoping at Tribal that he was going to pull it out and hand it to you?
I was very, very, very much still hoping that was my last attempt, and we were going to blindside Benry, which at the last second I was like, this is retarded. We're blindsiding Benry. That was the whole game plan up to that point. Sash, Chase, and I were like, yeah, it's Benry. Very obvious. But no, and I realized at Tribal Council, he's not going to give it to me. Why am I going to write down Benry's name? It has to be Nayanka. She's my real enemy.
You and Nayanka were very close in the game until she flipped on you in the end. What are your thoughts on her now, especially seeing how she treated people like Kelly Bruno and Fabio?
She's just a roller coaster ride. She's a crazy roller coaster ride. I knew it was a crazy roller coaster ride. I didn't think it would derail and crash and burn. I wanted to get off of it safely, but it didn't turn out that way. And I just think that, what people don't see is that she is a sweet girl. I know a lot of people are like,
yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it, Brenda.
There were some really sweet, nice, funny, loving parts of Nayanka that made me have a friendship with her. She's freaking hilarious. And yes, and she told me about her background and her life, and she doesn't have the best upbringing. And a lot of things made her an angry person, and I understood that about her. I knew that was just a little insecurity and weakness inside her, and I understood her for that. And as part of the game, she took a lot of the energy away from me. She took a lot of attention, which was great. It's like, yeah, Nayanka's bad, not me, she's bad, She has the idol, ha ha ha, and not me. I'm not the one to be targeting, it's her.
Brenda, you've been compared a lot with Parvati for using your feminine wiles to influence stupid boys. Chase, is that accurate?
What happened with Chase and I was very natural. It was no, let me bat my eyelashes and let me get this guy. Woohoo! No, it wasn't that. It was something very natural. He's a sweet guy. He's extremely good looking. He's got a cute accent. And when you first meet him, you're like, wow, he's cute. And when you're on this game, I was like, he's such a nice guy. And it was. It wasn't anything like, ha ha ha, I got this guy right where I want him. I knew that it was starting to turn into that, but it just happened naturally.
Yeah, but you're saying it happened naturally. Once you realized you had that, you used it.
Of course. What am I going to do? You use what you got.
Well, Brenda, I thought you played very hard. I thought you played very well, and I would be very surprised if we don't see you out on an island again at some point. So, so good job this season.
Thank you so much.
All right, there she is, Brenda Lowe, giving us the lowdown. Come on, you knew it was coming.
Use the sound effect.
That was good stuff.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
way.
you've got to buzz yourself.
Not a chance.
You
I'm
have
not buzzing
to
myself.
do it.
Well, that's going to do it for an action-packed edition.
Very.
That was packed
That
with
was
good
packed.
stuff.
Well, you know what? We're
Next
off
and
next
packed.
week for Turkey Time, and then we'll be back on 2 weeks on December 3rd with a Walking Dead finale preview. Creator Robert Kirkman's going to join us for that. That will be awesome. And we're also going to go over our holiday movie cliche checklist that we do every year with Dan Sneerson's going to stop by with that.
That is one of my favorite things of all time. He watches all those movies that I don't want to watch.
Yeah, and he watches literally 15 Christmas movies. You know the best part about it? He's Jewish! Love it. Anyway, thanks for joining us, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Annie, gobble for us.
Gobble, 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 gobble. I'm not doing that.
Oh, that's better.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know what a turkey sounds like. This is just a sound that I'm making.